All right, so we finally reached 100 subscribers. This was something that we
didn't think would happen.
Yeah, we said to ourselves at the beginning of this channel, hey, if we get to 100, then that will have made it for us. That's insane. So we wanted to start off by saying absolutely thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Like, it's crazy. We have nearly 5,000 views on one of our videos, which I know
seems like a lot to us.
Yeah, for a little baby channel like us, it feels really awesome. So we thought we'd start off by saying thank you, and then we'd probably so you get to know us a little better. Yeah. We'd tell you each our top 10 rock and metal albums.
Yeah, this just so you understand, like, whenever we say our opinions on stuff, that you understand where we're coming from based on what we like.
So we're gonna do this in halves. I'll release my bottom 5. She'll tell you her bottom 5, then I'll tell you my top 5, and she'll tell you her top 5. So let's start right at the beginning with my number 10, which is one I think everybody in rock and metal community must love this album. It's almost impossible not to, I would think, but that's Back in Black, AC/DC.
I mean, yeah.
It's amazing. Brian Johnson's first appearance in AC/DC. Mm-hmm. Just beautiful, wonderful. And my favorite song is It's Back in Black. Like, I mean, Hell's Bells is on that album and everything, but it's just... Back in Black is just so...
It's got that riff, yo.
Dun, 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 dun.
And, that song has a special place in my heart because it's the first one I learned how to play on drums.
I think everybody is like, AC/DC is the first thing I learned how to play on X instrument because it's...
rockin', but like, not
it's
complex.
Rockin', but entry level. No, it's simple and easy and wonderful, and I just absolutely...
That's the thing, like, they've, like, it might be simple, but their riffs are just great.
Like I said, the first riff I ever had trouble with, which is, for like a beginner who's like, I want to learn how to play metal. It was this. It was, bitter. I was trying to get those like parts at the top there. When I was first starting to play guitar, I'm like, this is impossible. So my number 9 is another old school one that I'm pretty sure most people like. It's Rainbow Rising, the album by Rainbow. So good. Dio's, it was the sophomore album of Rainbow. Mm-hmm. It was so good, so early. It's like that early heavy metal.
Mm-hmm. And who doesn't love them from Dio?
Yeah, Dio's amazing. And Richie Blackmore is a fantastic guitarist, one of the best of all time. Deep Purple's amazing, and it's just great. And of course, my favorite off that is Stargazer, the huge operatic song about wizards and whatnot. And that song was actually apparently recorded with the Munich Philharmonic Orchestra.
Rad.
So, yeah, it's huge and powerful and wonderful, and Dio's voice and those early metal sounds have just totally inspired me to make my own music. And that's one reason why we've been so busy and haven't released a video recently, is because we have been working on our own music. So, prepare to review that yourselves. All right, so I just love Dio, and he's one of the people that helped, he helped create power metal in a way because of his vocal style and everything. And so my next one, which is number 8, is actually Valley of the Damned by Dragon Force.
All right.
This album grew on me suddenly and with like an intense strength. Because normally I look at Dragon Force now and I'm like, oh, crazy, fast, ridiculous Nintendo sounds.
Like, can they even play that?
Yeah. and so I've been doing this recently. Is I've been going back and listening to I've been going and listening to bands' entire discographies, and.
Yep. That's a thing both of us do sometimes. Yeah.
Yes, and so I've been doing that because at work I just focus that way. And so I listened to Dragon Force from the beginning, and this first album is just so awesome, especially the song, which number 1 song from that I like is Valley of the Damned, is the title track. It's just so great, and it's exactly what power metal should be. It's driving, it's forceful, it's hopeful, it's powerful, it's just everything, and I absolutely love it. Speaking still of power metal, but I guess going into a war... What?
You and your power metal.
I like it. It's very hopeful. The next one, we saw this band just recently live again. We've seen them live every time they come here. Love them to death. It's The Art of War by Sabaton. Yeah. This is just... I know this is my top 10 albums, but this is one of the best albums of all time. Yeah. It's just every single song is gold. Yeah. And I think that about almost all these albums.
Well, you can see from their live shows, too, it's like they play like half that album.
Yeah, because it's just so wonderful. And my favorite was the song that I first discovered of Sabaton's. The song that, I don't know why, someone like played it for me. And then me and my brother jammed out to this track a million times. It was Panzerkampf.
Yep. I found that song via an AMV, personally. Yeah. A Hitalia AMV.
Naturally.
Yeah. That's the dorky way I found that song, but then I'm like,
I'm sure that's how I found it too. Like AMV Hell, 1, 2, 3, and 4, whatever. I'm sure you guys know those hour-long AMV videos. Yeah. I discovered a lot of music that way, actually. But no, this song, I never forget sitting downstairs at my house when I was like a teenager with my brother, and we played this song and just blasting the speakers. Into the motherland, the German army march. That is impressed on my brain like it was stamped there. Like, there's such a great song. And for my last bottom 5 of the top
your number
10,
6 song.
yes, number 6 song is actually "Electric Ladyland" by Jimi Hendrix.
I mean, you gotta love Jimmy.
This thing is huge Jimmy fan.
I know it, man.
Yeah, and we literally have them like the albums up on the wall, and just "Electric Ladyland," especially like the big long Super Jam track "Voodoo Child" is my favorite song of the album. It speaks to my soul, and Jimmy's playing is just so unlike anything else in the time. Yeah. And it's just so inspiring. And you can look at all the people who are inspired by Jimmy a lot. Like
literally everybody.
Yeah, everybody. But specifically the bands we like Jerry Cantrell, super inspired by Jimmy.
Fact.
You look at Zakk Wylde, super crazy inspired by Jimmy. And I love it so much. Jimmy just had a way of playing that is immortal. He had it.
Whatever it is.
Yes. So that's my bottom 5 of my top 10.
All right. Okay, so I'm just going to start with my number 10 album, so this is an album from a band we all love. It is Painkiller by Judas Priest.
Such goodness.
Yeah, it's I'm really amused because it's like, Judas Priest has been around forever, but this album came out in 1990. Might be 91, I'm not 100% sure. 1990, and like it proves that Judas Priest is like as good as ever. Like they gradually progressed more and more metal over time. They started out as just a regular straight up rock band.
I mean, if you look at like British Steel, like Living After Midnight. It's almost AC/DC like.
Yeah, but then they like with Painkiller, they're like, nah, we're like metal as fudge now.
Oh yeah,
go on.
I'll never forget hearing for the first time that sweep at the beginning, that
this brings me to my favorite song of that album, which is Painkiller. Like there are a lot of great songs on that album, of course. But like, yeah, that
song gets into your soul and tears it apart.
And it's so like the talent required on every single instrument is insane. Like
the solos are amazing.
Yeah, and that drum intro, I'm just like, oh my heart. Love it. Like,
yeah, so good.
It's one of the best like drum intros to a song that I've ever heard. Yeah, so that's that album. Let's see. My number 9, also from the 90s, as are I think most of my albums.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. Yeah. So when we grew up.
Yeah, no, it's a classic. It is Pantera's their first real album, really.
Yes.
Cowboys from Hell, of course.
Of course. Yeah. It's such a good album.
Flippin' long album.
It's so long.
It's got a lot
15 tracks?
It's not that many. Cowboys from Hell was basically like, the album that established Pantera as we all know and love it.
Oh yeah, that
like
heavy,
they had
crunchy, meaty tone.
Those albums before it, but like Cowboys really defined.
Well, that Southern groove, angry, sound,
and like all the attitude and like all the like awesome solos, of course, and like just their tone. Like I must say, like I always say this about Pantera's tone, but it's like I feel like technically bad.
In isolation, it's very, like, very trebly.
If another band were to use that tone, it like wouldn't sound good. But for whatever reason, it just works.
Sometimes it's just about how the band all comes together.
It's inexplicable. Yeah. So and my favorite song off that album is, despite there being lots of excellent ones, is "Cemetery Gates," because I think it's
got so much soul.
Yeah, it's just a perfect combination. Like. It's a ballad, but but it's heavy and intense. Like, and the juxtaposition between the two, between like the clean part and then the heavy part, is like, oh yes. And just all the high sung notes and the squeals at the end is like, it's just like heart.
It just shows off all the talent and all the emotion and all the feel.
And like that guitar solo would probably make my top guitar solos list too.
We'll have to make that video maybe 200 subs.
Yeah, but yeah, just one of the best albums and guitar solos and songs. Yeah. Anyway, moving on to my number 8 album, is actually Slayer is one of my favorite bands. One of his favorite bands as well.
Yeah, wow.
If you don't know by now, we like Slayer. And this is, like, I was actually surprised myself when I was making this list that my Slayer album was so low on it, but it's just because I feel like their good songs are kind of, like, spread out.
Mm-hmm. Every album's got at least one song where you're like, yeah, that's a great Slayer song.
And so I was sitting up and thinking about it, and I'm like, Rain and Blood is the best, obviously. And then I sat there and went, you know what? It really isn't. It's Seasons in the Abyss. Because...
I can just hear the people like, how dare you? You guys don't know anything about music.
Yeah, anyway, Seasons in the Abyss is my favorite Slayer album. Kill me. And my favorite song is Dead Skin Mask.
So good. That haunting riff is just famous. Well, obviously it's famous, but... Yeah.
And, like, whenever we've seen them live, they introduce that song by saying, this is a Slayer love song. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, you guys are silly. Yeah, and let's move on to number 7, I guess. Back to the 90s.
Yep. Maybe.
If we ever left. Yeah, so... my main 2 genres of music that I like are thrash metal and grunge. So now we're moving on to a grunge one, which would of course be Nevermind by Nirvana. Anyway, yeah, Nevermind. Like I shouldn't have to argue why this is a good album.
It's timeless, immortal. Everyone is influenced by the song after the 90s. Yeah. This song, this band, album, this band. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like it just was one of those. Nirvana was one of those bands that
perfectly
started a movement.
The feeling of a time.
And, like, just don't really have to explain this one. So and I'm going to be cliche and say that my favorite song is Smells Like Teen Spirit. I just have to, because it's the song that introduced me to Nirvana and introduced me to grunge music in general. Well, like, I remember I was a kid riding in the car and it comes on the radio and just like, after that, the first 4 chords, Yeah. Hit. I'm just like, Mom, what is this song?
When is this band coming to town?
Yeah, but that's kind of what started my interest in grunge music and like 90s alt rock in general. So,
well, here's the thing: popular music, or at least music that a lot of people like, is that way for a reason. It's there's no shame in liking something that a lot of people like, and I know a lot of people are against that. But "Smells Like Teen Spirit" is amazing, and it's a great song, and Nirvana is great. So. Moving on.
Anyway, yeah. Moving on to my number 6 favorite album, which
another genre-defining kind of album,
Yeah, it definitely is Linkin Park's first album, Hybrid Theory.
Hybrid Theory is so good.
It's just a very unique... It's a very kind of unique place, especially is released in 2000.
That new metal, man.
Yeah, and it was like on the forefront of like new metal, and like, their style back then was combining like rap and metal.
Yep.
Like, kind of inspired by like the Beastie Boys and stuff, but making it more metal.
Which rap, is like, metal, synthy keyboards.
Yeah, which is right up my alley personally.
Except for synthy keyboards. Anyone who's watched our reviews knows synthy keyboards is not for you.
Rap metal is something that I like and think there should be more of. But yeah, Hybrid Theory has like, it's, almost all of the like Linkin Park songs you can think of are like on that album. It's like Somewhere I Belong and like In the End and like my personal favorite, Crawling, everybody. Like,
Crawling is my absolute favorite Linkin Park song as well. Oh gosh, that song and the music video, I remember that one where it's the girl looking in the mirror and there's like makeup going off her and the sink. I'm just like, my angsty teenagerness is feeling this.
No, like Linkin Park was one of the first like
heavy
metal bands that I listened to.
Yeah.
Like they're not. Yeah. Anyway, they're one of the first metal bands I listened to, along with Disturbed and Evanescence. And
so heavy.
Yeah. Hey, well, we were all kids in the early 2000s, like. Anyway,
all right.
Hybrid Theory by Linkin Park.
All right. Yeah. All right. So now on to my top 5 overall. So my number 5, which it's not as surprising to me. But it's a surprise to imagine most people because it's sort of proggy, sludgy weirdness, and that's Mastodon's Blood Mountain. This album, like, it stunned me. I just listened to it one day. I listened to it straight through, and I was like, my God, I finally get it. I finally get some progginess. It makes sense to me now. And you should know that all you prog fans out there who sass us in the comments, I went back and I listened to every Rush album, every Dream Theater album, and every Tool album. So I've heard it all, and
I listened to Primus for like an hour the other day.
Yeah, right. So I will say that Mastodon is my favorite proggy, sludgy, metally like band of that type, and Blood Mountain is so good. And my favorite song from the album is probably going to be a little bit like weird for a lot of people because it's the instrumental. It's Blade Catcher, but that's because it has the this awesome riff that goes like and
does it make you do that?
It's so awesome. It does. And I love it's so good and I legitimately really appreciate it. And Blood Mountain is just it's an album that I can't just listen to one song. I have to sit down and listen to the whole thing because otherwise I'm just not like, oh, I need the rest of it because it's like a concept album. So I just feel the need. And so my next album is going to be totally different from that, and it's going to be from a relatively newer band.
Yeah.
So
I think. Go on. Sorry.
No. Well, okay. Well, so this band, some of you might have heard of this. They just released their second album a couple weeks ago, actually. That was 28 Days in the Valley. But this one is Dorothy. Their first album, Rock is Dead, is this low-down, fuzzy blues rock with this powerful, like, voiced woman. Her name is Dorothy, obviously. And it just came out of nowhere and stunned me, absolutely, with how much stank it had on it and how, like, soulful it was. And I actually heard them for the first time in like a 6-second clip on a Pandora commercial.
And then knew you had to.
And then I was like, oh, whatever that is, I need that in my ear holes. And so it came out and I saw them live just a couple weeks ago and just, blown away. So good. I look forward to everything they'll ever make in the future. Like I said, they just released their second album. But Rock is Dead, amazing album. Go listen to it, especially if you like anything blues or blues rock related. And it's specifically the song Dark Nights is this, like, jamming, sort of like torchy, bluesy stankness that I just loved and thought was amazing. So that's just wonderful. And my next album is one that... It's so good. It's so full of fun.
Joy.
Yeah, it's literally the most fun album I think I've ever heard in my entire life. And it's by a band that's like super duper awesome and fun and amazing. And we're going to see them next weekend. And we've had drinks with them. We showed you pictures of us hanging out with them. And it's The Darkness with their first album, Permission to Land.
Yeah. This
album is one of just the most fun and amazing albums of all time. Every single track from it is solid gold.
You can say they're shitting on solid gold.
I would say that. Heyo from the new album.
Yeah.
But even the B-side to this album.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up if you didn't, is that the B-sides are super, like, awesome. There's Physical Sex, and there's Making Out.
Yeah, Making Out is so good. No, Physical Sex was one of those songs that when I heard it first time, I was just like...
I remember we first listened to it together, and we're both like, this is amazing.
How is this not an A-side?
Yeah.
No, but my favorite song... I know it's the number one song from the album. It's the music video one. It's the one everyone knows, everyone loves.
And we used it in our wedding, so that's why we're biased.
Yes, yes. So our return down the aisle was to this, and it was, I believe in a thing called love. Just listen to the rhythm of your heart. It's just so good. It's so powerful. It's got 2 solos in it. And they're all they dress in the awesome glam jumpsuits.
And if you've never seen the music video of that song, you need to. Pause this video right now and go watch that music video because it's insane.
Yeah, giant space squids.
And there are little details in it. Like at one point, he's singing into a sausage for some reason.
Like literally just look and like at one point, like he's in front of a huge group of Marshall stacks, and you can see he passes his guitar beyond the green screen a little bit, and so it just kind of disappears. And he's like,
I actually remember watching that video on VH1.
Yeah,
when it came out with my mom.
That's awesome. But no, my top 3 definitely Permission to Land by The Darkness. I believe that album is so good. Every single song is so amazing, and the B-sides are amazing too. So make sure you listen to them. In fact, most Darkness B-sides are amazing. Most music The Darkness makes is just rad, and I really appreciate it.
A lot of people see them as like a one-hit wonder band almost.
No way! Everything is gold. Anyway, but my number 2 is The Color and the Shade by the Foo Fighters. This album is beautiful. It's genius. It defines alt rock. It just. Dave Grohl can almost do no wrong, you know.
He is my hero.
Yeah. There, watch him as he goes, which, from this album. Yeah. But my favorite from this album is, of course, Everlong. And funny story about that is that I actually, when I proposed to Erica, I played that song for her because I knew it was her favorite Foo Fighters song. So I played that song for her on a park bench where we first kissed.
And it was cheesy and gross.
It was super gross and cheesy, but... Hey, you know what? We're married now, and that's good. So yeah.
And you should save your number 1.
Okay. All right. Save number 1. Now you give us your top,
All right.
bottom 4.
5.
But
What?
minus the 1.
Okay. Anyway, so my number 5 album, and let me just say this about like my 1st through 5th. These 5 albums are ones I would say are perfect. Like every single song is something I enjoy in of itself. Like these are albums that can do no wrong.
Yep.
So my number 5 album is another defining band of grunge. Pearl Jam, of course.
Yeah, I know what album it is already.
Yeah. And it's like I did actually think about it for a minute before just automatically going with this one. And because Pearl Jam has had lots, like every single album they put out, in my opinion, has like a lot of good stuff on it. Like I know some people didn't like their newest one, Lightning Bolt, but like
I really
that
did.
song,
yeah.
that album makes me cry like 3 or 4 times. Granted, that's true of every Pearl Jam.
Every Pearl Jam
Anyway,
album.
if you hadn't guessed by now, my favorite Pearl Jam album is 10.
Dude.
It's just
It's a 10 out of 10.
yeah, it is a 10 out of 10.
Nailed it.
Just it was so hard to choose a favorite song. From that one.
Gosh, yeah. I mean, I know what I would choose, and I suspect you chose the same thing. I've deliberately not been looking at your list.
Yeah, but I'm gonna just Alive.
Yep.
Is that song? It's just, like I've had to pull over on the side of the road when that song came on before because I started crying like profusely, and I'm just like.
Eddie Vedder gets my soul days because the lyrics are beautiful, the riffs are beautiful,
and that again, that guitar solo would go on my best solos.
Oh, absolutely!
Like it's just
it's like you don't even think about you think about famous guitarists, you know, Zakk Wylde and everything, but dude, insert name of Pearl Jam guitarist here. Just that solo is so amazing, and it's long and it's complex pentatonically wise. It's just really beautiful,
and it's just like just pure outpouring of emotion.
Yeah, like
in my mind, like
oh gosh, that whole album I could just cry.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like when I saw Pearl Jam live, like the guy I went with looked at me like I was a crazy person the whole time because I was just like covered in tears because they're just
Pearl Jam gets it.
Yeah, they just get it. Like. And it was hard for me to pick Alive almost because as a top song because there's like Black and Once and like Jeremy and I'm like so hard. Anyway, so moving on to my next one, my number 4 album, which is one we already talked about.
Yep.
It's The Color and the Shape by the Foo Fighters.
So good. Perfect album.
Yeah, and it's got like 18 songs on it too, so it's kind of like cheating because
it's got so many opportunities
it's like a double album basically.
Yeah. So many opportunities to be great.
Yeah. But, like, and the Foo Fighters just, they're one of those bands that every album is gold, you know?
Yeah, no, yeah. The way we bonded was you walked into my room and you saw my Foo Fighters poster on the wall and you were like, I like this guy.
Yep. Yeah, and my favorite song is also Everlong, shockingly.
Yeah, wow, crazy.
Yeah, so I'm not going to say much more about that one. All right, my number 3 album. I've, he knows, I listened to this album a lot, like...
Yeah, I recently did
at least once a week. I listen to this from start to finish.
I recently did a listen through of all their albums in a row, like 2 weeks ago, just because I wanted to.
Yeah, and anyway, no, this is one of my albums that I just listen to all the time and absolutely adore it. And there's no song that's bad. There's no song that's not like excellent, and that is by Alice in Chains, Dirt.
Yep.
It's perfect. I think Alice in Chains is my favorite grunge band, definitely, because they combine the, like, emotions of grunge music with the heaviness of metal, and it's...
Yeah, when asked if he was part of the grunge scene, Jerry Cantrell said, no, I just make heavy metal.
Yeah, well, and, you know, you can tell how influenced by metal they are. You know? Yeah. They get that heaviness.
And the vocal harmonies they do, everything.
Yeah,
we didn't discuss why Alice in Chains is so great. The guitaring is great, the harmonies are great, and William Duvall, the new singer, he's really awesome. Yeah. Like, Black Gives Way to Blue, I thought was an amazing album.
Yeah. But we're talking about Dirt.
Yeah, talking about Dirt. Best song on Dirt. Almost impossible.
It is. Like, I sat there and I'm like, what is it? Like... Them Bones or Angry Chair or Junkhead or Rooster, and I'm like, wait, they're all so amazing.
They're all so good.
In the end, I have to pick Wood.
Well, I mean,
it's just
if I could, would you
pick that song as my favorite? Yes.
Yes.
Like I like to start off with it's an amazing song because of how it ends. Like it's a perfect album closer, and it's just haunting. And like if it's, you know, if you're playing on shuffle, if that song is not followed by like many seconds of silence, that's a tragedy.
Yeah, because it needs that sort of like...
Yeah.
moment. You have to have that breath.
Well, and the story behind the song is like sad, and it's about Andrew Wood from Mother Love Bone, who died of a heroin overdose, like a lot of grunge people, and being on heroin.
Everybody had to jump on that train.
And anyway, they were friends. Everybody in these two bands were friends, and the song was about him and how, like, because he'd gotten clean for a little while and then relapsed and died on his relapse. So it was kind of depressing.
So sad.
But it's just that, like,
it's visceral and
emotions,
hardcore,
and that's like all the emotions of that album, and I love it. Anyway, I've rambled for a lot of time about that. And so my number 2 album, which you probably thought would be my number 1.
Nah, in the end I knew you'd be sassy.
So my number 2 album is by my favorite band, Metallica, which you
guys will know that one by now.
I'm sure you know that our favorite bands are Metallica. And though Metallica has lots of great albums, like all of them, particularly the first 4, and Saint Anger. I have to say my favorite's Master of Puppets. Everybody.
Stunned. Mind blown. How could that possibly be true?
But for a little while there, I sat there and considered saying Ride the Lightning instead.
Just more direct thrashy.
Ride the Lightning is more thrashy. But I think Master of Puppets is more, I'm going to use that word you hate, mature. It's like emotionally deeper.
Yes.
Is what I
Where the things that once made you happy now make you sad.
Yeah. But like, while still being like awesome.
Heavy and brutal and amazing.
Yeah. And the song that is my favorite, I give you one guess as to which one it is.
I don't know. Is it Welcome Home Sanitarium? No, it's Master of Puppets.
Yes. That I've listened to that song 8,000 million times. I could sing it to you, like, including all the riffs and guitar solos. Like, it's my favorite song of all time. Like,
yeah, well,
it's just great.
Feeding off of that, you'll never guess what my number 1 album, number 1 band, and number 1 song are.
It's Tool, right?
Yep, Anima by Tool with the song Scores Them.
No, it's Master of Puppets.
It's Master of Puppets by Metallica, Master of Puppets, because it's just one of the best songs of all time. When you listen to it, you would swear it's not like 8.5 minutes long.
Yeah, it totally is one of those songs where you just listen to it and then
it's over and you're like, man, only 3 minutes have passed, right? Maybe not even.
Yeah, and then you like look at the time and you're like, wow, oh gosh, it's been a while. Huh.
Yeah, obviously this whole album is great. Cliff is one of I play the bass, and Cliff is one of my biggest inspirations of all time. It's wonderful. His the vocals of James Hetfield are one of my favorite voices in music, much less metal music.
I love when you can have clean melodic singing over
melodic thrash,
heavy business.
And it's just wonderful and amazing, and the riffs are beautiful, and just everything about it's golden. And I don't need to tell you that it's one of the best-selling albums of all time, probably.
Yeah.
I know Black Album sold more, and I like the Black Album a lot, but Master of Puppets
is just better.
So what's your number 1?
My number 1 is also some thrash metal.
Shocking. Our minds are blown.
Yeah, another representative of the Big Four, and started by former member of Metallica, which would be Megadeth, and the album Rest in Peace.
Yeah.
Briefly considered saying Peace Sells, but then I sat down and looked at the track listing, and I'm like, oh yeah, nah.
Rest in Peace has all the songs on it.
All of Megadeth's best songs.
Based songs. Speaking of bass, Dave Ellefson, also a bass hero.
Gosh, yeah, he's amazing.
Oh, so good. Love his riffs. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. But anyway, Rest in Peace is just amazing pieces of art, start to finish, ridiculous, of course, ridiculous guitar solos, ridiculous drumming, the lyrics are good and interesting.
Comparatively good Dave Mustaine singing to a lot of the other albums.
Even though this is musically complex and artistic, he's still vocally and lyrically, he keeps his sass while still being serious about the subject matter.
Where he's a weird Spanish accent.
Yeah. It's just him,
It's just Dave. What's the number 1 song?
Oh, okay. And it was so hard to choose. I had to think about it for a long time because there's so many great ones. But I have to say Hangar 18. Yeah. Because it just is. Yeah. Everybody, if you are a metal fan, you know that riff. Yeah. And the dual guitar work is insane.
I can't believe they could play that side by side. It's just so wonderful and beautiful and amazing.
Yeah. And it's just a beautiful song.
I would say the next best, my next favorite dual guitar work of that level of intensity is Scarified by Racer X. But anyway, so yeah, those are our top 10 albums. We, a lot of them we had the same, of course, because shocking, we have very similar taste in music. And you can see that it ranges from like old school rock to like modern thrashy metal and whatnot. Just you can tell by this channel, we'll listen to anything and try our best to be like objective and cool about it. And you may not agree with our opinions, but that's cool. We like it when there's a discussion in the comments. So awesome. Tell us what your top bands are.
Yeah, we'd love to know what like everybody's favorite 3 albums, 3 favorite bands, whatever.
Yeah, because one day we'll maybe if we have time we'll do like retro reviews of an album we never listened to, but it's an older one, and then we'll come in here and we'll talk about that, and you guys can tell us how much you don't agree about our opinion on that. But prepare yourselves for more reviews in the future. We've got lots of them lined up. It's super awesome, amazing. Can't wait to listen to more music. We've discovered so much music. But in the end, like I said, we now have over 100 subscribers, and we just wanted to say
thanks.
Absolutely, thank you guys for watching. I know anywhere from like 15 to hour-long videos, those are a lot to watch. We don't know why
you want to listen to us for that one.
Yeah, right?
We're glad you do.
Yeah, so thank you. And in the end, everybody's a critic, including us. Bye-bye. How could you put Nevermind above Cowboys? That's so dumb.